Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every life when you realize this truth. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to let someone's bad energy rent space in your mind. You don't have to carry the weight of other people's chaos. You are not a trash bin for anyone's bitterness, and you're not obligated to be available for drama. You see, when you know who you are, when you are centered in your spirit and grounded in your purpose, no storm outside of you can shake the peace inside of you. One of the greatest shifts in our emotional freedom comes when we finally learn this simple, powerful truth. Not everything is about us. It's not. And the moment you stop personalizing every interaction, every comment, every distant glance or dismissive tone, is the moment you take your power back. So often we walk through life interpreting other people's actions as reflections of our worth. Someone doesn't respond to our message right away and we start spinning stories. Did I say something wrong? Someone seems distracted in a conversation and suddenly we think, they're bored with me, I'm not interesting enough. We internalize things that were never meant to be absorbed. We turn passing moments into personal judgments. But here's the truth. People are going through things you will never see, never hear about, and never fully understand. Someone may be short with you not because of anything you did, but because they're grieving, or anxious, or overworked, or feeling invisible themselves. Someone might cancel plans not because they don't value you, but because they're struggling just to get out of bed that day. Someone might speak with sharpness, not because you deserved it, but because that's how they've been spoken to for years, and it's the only language their pain knows. You are not the cause of every storm, and you're not responsible for fixing everyone else's weather. When you internalize everything, you become a sponge for other people's emotional residue. You soak up hurt that was never yours to carry. You walk through life bruised, not because people meant to hurt you, but because you never learned to let their energy stop at the door of your soul. But when you stop personalizing, when you can say, this isn't about me, something extraordinary happens. You find peace. You create emotional boundaries. You develop the spiritual strength to hold space for others without letting their chaos seep into your spirit. You begin to understand that people are not always acting out of who they are acting out of what they're going through. Doesn't mean you accept bad behavior. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you, but it means you respond from a place of understanding rather than woundedness. You learn to say that energy doesn't belong to me and I choose not to carry it. Imagine the freedom of that. Imagine waking up every day and not letting someone's mood dictate your mood. Imagine being able to see someone lash out and instead of getting pulled in, you stay steady, calm, and compassionate because you understand that it's not a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of their struggle. And most importantly, imagine what it would feel like to reclaim all that mental space you've been filling with assumptions and self-judgment. The overthinking, the questioning, the rewriting of every conversation in your head. All that space cleared, clean, quiet, available now for something better, for your dreams, your healing, your joy. When you stop taking things personally, you start loving yourself in a deeper way. Because it means you finally believe deep down that you are not defined by how others treat you. You are defined by how you choose to rise, how you choose to love, how you choose to see yourself through the lens of grace rather than insecurity. And that shift, that's how you begin to live free. So the next time you feel that sting of rejection or misinterpretation, pause. Don't run with the story your mind wants to tell you. Ask yourself, is this really about me? Or is this about them? And if it's not yours, let it go. You weren't made to carry what doesn't belong to you. You were made to shine, to stand strong, to be light. Don't dim that light by personalizing the pain of others. Let them have their path while you walk yours with clarity and peace. You deserve that. And it's not only possible, it's powerful. There is a point in life when you have to decide that your peace matters more than being right, more than being liked, more than being understood. And when that moment comes, when you finally choose to honor your peace, as a sacred priority, you start to feel a shift, a quiet, powerful shift, the kind that doesn't need to be announced, but is felt in everything you do. The way you speak changes, the way you react or don't react changes, the way you move through your days changes. Because you're no longer chasing validation or reacting to noise, you're protecting something far more valuable, your peace. We've been taught to hustle, to perform, to explain ourselves, to show up, even when we're breaking inside. We have been conditioned to think that selflessness is strength, that sacrificing ourselves is noble. And yes, there is beauty in service, there is power in compassion. But there is also wisdom in drawing a line and saying, this is where I protect me. Your peace is not a luxury. It's not something you get to focus on after everyone else is okay. It's not a reward that comes once you've fixed everything and everyone around you. Your peace is foundation. It is the soil where every beautiful part of your life grows. Without peace, your joy becomes fragile, your creativity fades, your relationships suffer, your health declines, your sense of self gets buried under layers of stress and resentment. Protecting your peace means knowing when to walk away. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with clarity. Not every conflict needs your attendance. Not every person is meant to sit at the table of your life. And that doesn't make you cold, that makes you conscious. Conscious of your limits, your values, your needs. Conscious of what adds to your life and what drains you. Sometimes peace is saying no. Sometimes it's canceling a plan because you need rest, even if it disappoints someone. Sometimes it's putting your phone on silent and just breathing. Sometimes it's choosing to not engage in a battle of egos, even when you know you could win. Sometimes it's stepping away from someone you love because staying close costs you your peace. And that price is too high. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. You don't have to justify your boundaries. You don't need to be available to prove your worth. What you owe to your own soul is presence, a calm heart, a soft inner world. That is the real work. To keep your peace in a world that profits off your anxiety, that feeds on your distraction, that tells you you are only as good as what you produce. But peace is not passive. It's not just sitting still and hoping things will calm down. Peace is active. It's a choice, a discipline. It's choosing your response, choosing your environment, choosing your company, choosing your thoughts, choosing what you allow to live in your mind rent-free. Every time you choose peace, you're sending a message to yourself. I matter. My well-being matters. My spirit matters. And that message becomes your baseline. It becomes the filter through which you start making decisions, not based on fear or guilt, but on alignment and truth. Some people won't understand. Some will say you've changed, and that's okay. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to be whole. And wholeness requires intention. It requires choosing softness over chaos, presence over performance, inner calm over external approval. You don't have to prove you're strong by enduring things that hurt you. Real strength is walking away from what disrupts your peace, even when it's hard. Real strength is choosing silence over shouting, rest over rush, grace over grudges. Real strength is choosing you. And you will know you're doing the right thing when your life begins to feel lighter. When your mornings feel softer. When you can sit with yourself and not feel the weight of everyone else's expectations. When you realize that peace doesn't mean your life is perfect, it means you are no longer willing to let the imperfect steal your joy. So hold your peace like the treasure it is. Guard it, nurture it, build a life around it. Not a life that looks perfect to others, but one that feels good to you, because that is the life that will sustain you, heal you, and set you free. There's a simple, beautiful act that can change the course of your entire day, sometimes even your entire life. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it doesn't require an audience or applause. It's just one breath. A conscious, intentional pause before you respond. In that pause, right between stimulus and response, there lives your power. Because the truth is, most of the pain we cause ourselves and others doesn't come from what happens to us. It comes from how we react, from the words we say in the heat of the moment, from the assumptions we make without asking questions, from the way we raise our voice instead of raising our awareness, from the way we let our emotions lead us when what we really need is to just breathe. When something upsets you, your body tightens, your chest constricts, your heart speeds up. That's your nervous system reacting. That's your body trying to protect you. But the problem is, in that heightened state, we aren't grounded. We're not connected to our higher selves. We're operating from fear, from defensiveness, from the past. We lash out, we shut down, we say things we don't mean, or worse, we say things we do mean, but not with the grace they deserve. That's why the breath is so sacred. It brings you back to the present moment, back to your wisdom, back to your choice, because you do have a choice. You are not your triggers. You are not your reaction. You are the awareness behind it. The space within you that can observe a feeling without becoming the feeling. That's where your freedom lives. So the next time you feel that rush of heat, that spike of irritation, that pull toward proving your point, pause. Don't speak, don't act, don't respond, just breathe. One full inhale, one slow exhale, then maybe another. And ask yourself, what is actually needed here? Is it defense? Is it retaliation? Or is it patience? Is it understanding? Is it grace? Often what's needed most is not a sharper word, but a softer heart. We've been conditioned to be quick to reply, quick to defend, quick to prove we're right. But speed is not always strength. Sometimes the real strength is in slowing down, in choosing intention over impulse, in giving yourself just a little bit of space to let the emotional dust settle before you say something you'll wish you could take back. Because once a word is spoken, it can't be unsaid. Once energy is released into a room, it lingers. People may forgive, but they often remember how your reaction made them feel. Remember too, how many times have you replayed a conversation in your head, wishing you had handled it differently, wishing you had taken just one more breath? That breath isn't weakness, it's wisdom, it's maturity, it's emotional mastery. And breathing before you respond isn't just about avoiding harm, it's about creating connection. It's about hearing what's really being said, not just what your fear or frustration is interpreting. It's about allowing space for the truth to emerge, because truth doesn't shout. Truth often whispers, and we need silence to hear it. Breathing gives you that silence, that stillness, that sacred pause where love can enter, where empathy can rise, where healing can begin. It's not always easy. Sometimes that breath will feel like the hardest thing to take. Your ego will scream, say something. Your pride will shout, don't let this slide. But your soul, your deeper self, will gently say, wait, let's not react from the wound. And that quiet voice, the one that emerges only when we pause long enough to listen, that voice is the one you can trust. With time, this practice becomes a habit, a way of life. You begin to notice the difference between reacting and responding. You begin to catch yourself before the storm, and you learn slowly and beautifully that you don't need to attend every battle you're invited to. You can sit in your peace. You can breathe. And in that breath, you can choose love. That one breath can be the difference between chaos and calm, between hurting and healing, between regret and wisdom. So when in doubt, breathe, not just to calm your body, but to awaken your spirit. Breathe so you can remember who you are beyond the emotion. Breathe so you can respond, not react. Because every time you choose to pause, every time you choose to breathe, first, you are not just changing that moment, you are changing the story. You are creating peace where there could have been pain. And that is powerful. There is a quiet strength in learning how to let go, not with anger, not with bitterness, not with resentment, but with love. To detach with love means to choose peace over chaos, acceptance over control, and grace over guilt. It is one of the hardest things you will ever learn to do, and yet it's one of the most freeing. We often hold on, not because it's healthy, but because it's familiar. We grip people, situations, even pain out of a deep desire to feel connected or secure. We think, if I just try harder, stay longer, explain more, give everything I have, maybe this time it'll turn out differently. Maybe this time they'll understand me, choose me, change for me. But love, real love, is not about holding someone hostage to your expectations. It is not about fixing, saving, or sacrificing yourself to keep someone in your life. Love is not a leash or a contract. It is not measured by how tightly you can cling to someone. In fact, the deepest kind of love often requires the greatest kind of letting go. When you detach with love, you say, I love you enough to give you space to grow, to figure things out, to walk your own path, even if that path doesn't include me. And you also say, I love myself enough to walk away from what hurts, from what drains, from what keeps me stuck. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you shut down or become cold. It simply means you stop trying to control outcomes. You stop measuring your worth by how others treat you. You stop tying your peace to someone else's behavior. You let go, not because you've stopped loving, but because you've started to love in a way that includes yourself. Sometimes detachment means stepping away from toxic relationships, from people who manipulate or mistreat you. Sometimes it means releasing expectations of someone who isn't ready to meet you where you are emotionally. Sometimes it means allowing life to unfold without trying to manage every detail. It means trusting that what's meant for you will stay, and what's not meant for you is being moved out of your path for a reason, even if that reason isn't clear yet. And yes, it can be painful. There is a certain ache in letting go, especially when your heart is still involved. You might grieve the version of someone you hoped they become. You might mourn the version of the relationship that only existed in your dreams. But even in that grief, there is grace. Because choosing peace, choosing alignment, choosing to detach from what no longer serves you is an act of profound self-love. It's okay to walk away with tears in your eyes and love still in your heart. It's okay to wish someone well from a distance. It's okay to say, I forgive you, but I need to protect my space. That is not cruelty. That is clarity. That is emotional maturity. You don't have to make a scene. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. You don't have to wait until you're completely numb. Detaching with love means leaving quietly, with dignity. It means honoring what was while being honest about what is. It means letting the door close softly behind you, knowing you did your part and you've made peace with the rest. And sometimes the person you need to detach from is not someone else. It's a version of you. The one who overextends, the one who accepts less than they deserve, the one who confuses loyalty with self-betrayal. Sometimes detaching with love means finally saying goodbye to the patterns, the stories, the wounds that kept you small. It means setting yourself free. Detachment isn't a destination, it's a practice. Some days it will feel easy, other days it will feel like you're breaking. But over time, as you keep choosing peace, keep choosing boundaries, keep choosing truth, you'll notice the weight lifting. You'll feel yourself returning to yourself, and you'll look back and realize you didn't lose anything. You gained clarity, you gained strength, you gained the freedom to be fully you. So let go, not in anger, but in love, not with fear, but with faith. Faith that what is real, what is aligned, what is meant will never require you to abandon yourself. You are allowed to walk away with love in your heart. You are allowed to choose peace without apology. You are allowed to detach gently, powerfully, and wholly with love. There are moments in life when everything around you feels unsteady, when people question your choices, when progress feels slow, when the noise of the world drowns out the whisper of your heart. In those moments, it's easy to forget why you started. It's tempting to let the chaos pull you in, to be swayed by opinion, by comparison, by fear. But the truth is, your power lies in remembering, in returning, in staying anchored in purpose. Your purpose is not something external. It's not a job title. It's not a number in your bank account. It's not how many followers you have or how many people approve of you. Your purpose is the quiet knowing within you, the thing that keeps calling you back to yourself when you drift. It's what lights you up, what brings meaning to your movement, what gives your life depth, even on the days when nothing makes sense. Purpose is the root system beneath you. And like the roots of a tree, it's not always visible, but it's what keeps you standing when the winds of life blow through. When you are anchored in purpose, you don't fall apart every time someone doubts you. You don't give up every time the road gets hard. You don't chase every shiny thing that passes your way. You stay grounded. You stay focused. You move with intention, not reaction. And staying anchored in purpose doesn't mean you always feel certain or fearless. It doesn't mean you never get tired or question the journey. It just means that when the questions come, when the doubt creeps in, when life throws you curveballs, you know where to return. You know how to come home to your why. Because when you lose sight of your purpose, it's easy to settle, to shrink, to play small, to get caught in survival mode. But you weren't made just to survive. You were made to live, to create, to contribute, to evolve. And your purpose is your compass. It guides you back to that truth again and again. Sometimes your purpose is to serve. Sometimes it's to speak truth. Sometimes it's to raise a family, to create art, to heal others, to grow a business, to hold space for those who have none. Sometimes it's to walk through pain and come out the other side with wisdom to share. Whatever it is, it's valid, it's sacred, it's yours, and it's worth protecting. You protect your purpose by setting boundaries, by saying no to distractions that take you off course, by disconnecting from people who don't support your growth. You protect it by staying focused, even when the results are invisible, by showing up for the work no one sees, by trusting the process, even when it's slow. Because purpose is not always glamorous. It's not always exciting. Sometimes it's messy, mundane, and full of waiting. But even in those quiet seasons, something beautiful is growing within you. Resilience, clarity, strength. And when you stay anchored in purpose, something powerful happens. Your life begins to align. Decisions become clearer. The weight of comparison starts to fall away. You stop needing to explain yourself to everyone because you're no longer looking for direction from the outside. You're following your own internal compass. It doesn't mean the world will always understand. It doesn't mean everyone will support you, but it does mean you will feel aligned. And that alignment is priceless. It gives you peace. It gives you energy. It gives you the courage to keep showing up. And the truth is, you may not always feel like you're making a difference, but if you are rooted in purpose, if you are living in alignment with your values, you are making an impact. Sometimes the biggest shifts come from the smallest acts, from consistency, from faith, from being the kind of person who chooses to rise with integrity again and again. So stay anchored. Even when the waves crash, even when the world tells you to change course, even when the outcome doesn't match the vision yet. Because your purpose doesn't need to be loud, it just needs to be true. And when you live from that truth, when you root yourself in it day after day, you create a life that's not only successful by external standards, but deeply, beautifully fulfilling from the inside out. You won't always see where the path is going, but if the step you're taking is aligned with purpose, trust that it's leading you exactly where you need to be. There comes a moment in life, not just once, but many times, when you're asked to release something or someone you never thought you would. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's a dream that no longer fits. Maybe it's a version of yourself you've outgrown. Whatever it is, letting go is rarely easy. It's tender, it's raw, it's full of questions. And yet there is a certain kind of beauty in choosing to let go, not in anger, not in haste, but with grace. To let go with grace means to loosen your grip on what you thought should be and trust what is becoming. It means honoring what was without needing to drag it into the future. It means acknowledging that something or someone mattered, and still choosing to release it because you know deep down it's time. In a world that glorifies holding on, fight for it. Don't give up, never quit. But there is a sacred strength in surrender, in knowing when to stop forcing, stop fixing, stop begging. There's wisdom in understanding that letting go doesn't mean failure, it means freedom. And grace is what makes that freedom gentle. Grace is what allows you to move on without leaving pieces of yourself behind. Letting go with grace doesn't mean you weren't committed. It doesn't mean you didn't love deeply or try your best. It means you've grown enough to understand that love and effort alone can't always hold something together. It means you've learned that peace is a higher priority than proving a point. That your well-being matters more than clinging to something that no longer fits your spirit. Sometimes the hardest part of letting go is the silence that follows, the empty space, the unknown. But even in that stillness, healing begins. When you stop filling the void with noise, explanations, justifications, regrets, you make space for clarity. You make space for something new to take root. You make space for you to return to yourself. There is grace in choosing to leave quietly, in choosing not to damage what's ending with bitterness or blame. in choosing to bow out of someone's life or a chapter of your own with dignity, even when it hurts. Grace isn't about pretending you're not in pain. It's about moving through the pain without letting it turn you into someone you're not. Sometimes grace is writing the final page of a chapter with your own hand instead of waiting for someone else to write it for you. It's the maturity to accept that closure isn't always offered by others. It's something you give to yourself. You close the door, you bless the path behind you, you step forward, even if your heart is trembling. And sometimes letting go with grace means releasing resentment. It means forgiving what will never be made right, not for them, but for you. Because carrying anger is heavy. Carrying what's no longer yours is exhausting. When you let go of the bitterness, you don't lose your strength, you reclaim it. You don't forget what happened, but you stop letting it define you. Grace is quiet, but it's not weak. It takes immense strength to keep your heart soft in a hard world. It takes courage to let go without needing to be the victim or the hero. It takes humility to walk away without trying to control how you'll be remembered. And it takes deep self-love to know that your future deserves your full presence, not a version of you still anchored in the past. Letting go with grace is a gift you give to your future self. The version of you who will one day wake up and feel lighter, the version of you who will look back and thank you for choosing healing over hurt, growth over comfort, surrender over struggle. And one day, when enough time has passed and the ache has softened, you'll be able to look at what you let go of with gratitude. Not because it didn't matter, but because it shaped you. Because it taught you. Because it showed you how strong and soft and sovereign you could be all at once. You are not meant to hold on to everything. Some things are meant to pass through your life, like seasons. Beautiful, intense, transformative, but not permanent. And when they end, it doesn't mean your story is over. It means a new chapter is asking to be written. So let go. Not because you stopped caring, but because you care enough about your soul to not stay stuck. Let go gently, let go kindly, let go with grace,